The core set for Zone Wars gives you a fantastic two-sided gaming mat and enough terrain to start your games. Add in robots and psionics and things get even better. The zone, across which the four factions fight for the relics of a lost civilization, is a vast and mysterious place. In the role-playing game that inspired Zone Wars, players are given a zone map. It's an ancient manuscript with all sorts of references to obscure, lost locations. Wherever the campaign is set, players are free to go out and explore and to see what they can find in this bizarre wasteland. In your games of Zone Wars, your faction may well want to do the same. So in this video, I'm going to look at a range of different terrain from several different manufacturers that would slot perfectly into your games of Zone Wars. And now this won't just spice things up in terms of the way the board looks, but it will also open all sorts of new and exciting gameplay opportunities. The company that I'm going to start with is Battle Systems. They're a UK-based company that make a fantastic range of card terrain. Here we've got the Urban Apocalypse set, and I think this is absolutely perfect for Zone Wars. Inside a box like this, you have a number of these sheets, and it's just like the stuff you get with Zone Wars. You pop these out and assemble them. You can see here there's street clutter, but we've also got a collection of dilapidated sofas and old bits of furniture, etc. Just the sort of stuff that could be left over in the zone. You've got these sort of rundown walls as well that you can use to build some bigger structures, which I'll show you in a second. The way that the card terrain works, once you've popped it off the frame, you use these little clips which come in a variety of sizes to put things together like so. Dead easy. Here's an example of a building that I've put together. You can see the roof lifts off like so. I've just popped a few of the items that you can assemble inside. So you've got a beaten up old wardrobe, a sofa, and a chair there, a broken TV. These again would be great just to leave around the zone. They fit perfectly with the idea of a post-apocalyptic wasteland. And this piece of terrain is quite sturdy. Yeah, looks very nice. Here are some ruined buildings. These also come in the Urban Apocalypse range. I'll just give you a good view of those. You can see that they're nice. Print quality is good all around. You can see these clips, but they're quite discreet really. Once you've built the buildings, you don't tend to pay too much attention to them. And again, nice and sturdy. You have no problem holding models on here, particularly the Zone Wars ones, which are plastic. Here are a few more examples before I show you what a board would look like using this terrain. You can see here that these are simple ruins, and you also get the option to make some smaller buildings like this. This one still has some integrity to it, but obviously with the broken windows and so on, it really looks like it's been through the wars. Here's an example of a 3-foot by 3-foot battlefield using one of the neoprene mats also produced by Battle Systems. You can see the terrain looks fantastic, and you could play an interesting variation of throwdown. Instead of having goods just scattered hither and thither, they'd all be inside the shop. You drop them like so, and then you'd have this focal point where the different factions are congregating. There'd be this mad scrum as everyone tries to get inside and grab what they can. Here you can see that I've added together some of the stuff from Battle Systems and some of the buildings that come with Zone Wars. I think they go together perfectly, and here you've got all these different levels to play across. You've got a few buildings that models might go inside. For me, the battlefield is really what brings the game to life, and I think something like this just looks so interesting. I just want to play a game on it immediately. The next company that I'd like to talk to you about is called e-raptor, and they do these wonderful sets of different themed terrain. This one here you can see is slums. Now I could easily see one of the factions in the Zone Wars setting having constructed this as their arc. So if we open this up, you can see that once again we've got pieces that we need to pop out of a frame, but instead of being cardboard, these are a little thicker. I think it's a type of MDF. Now I'm going to unpack this. I'll show you me putting some of the pieces together, and then we'll assemble it properly. I've popped a few of the pieces out of the frame here just to show you how they go together. Just to mention that not all of the pieces that are going to go together are necessarily on the same frame. So for example here, piece 1 and piece 4 were from this frame, but piece 14 was from another frame. But it's all very clearly marked. You've got a list of where everything is, so it's not a problem. So piece 1 here, you can see clicks in to this piece here, which is number 14. That way round. You can hear the click there. And then this piece will go in like so. And it's going to be a case of continuing this as you build up the structure. Here's the finished slum kit with a few models from Zone Wars in place, just so you can get an idea of scale. I think you can see straight away it looks fantastic. If I zoom in, just to give you a little glance of how nicely detailed the terrain is, you can really appreciate it. It has that really rustic, run-down look, as though the whole camp has been made from reclaimed wood, which is exactly what would happen. There'd be nobody out there gathering fresh timber from forests. Most of the forests are gone, so this kind of scratched out existence is exactly what we'd see in the zone. I've added in some of the cardboard scenery from Zone Wars, and you can see that it matches perfectly with the slums. In fact, in this circular configuration, I could easily see this slums being used for some sort of siege scenario, where one group of desperate survivors are trying to get in and steal the goodies of another. There are two final ranges that I'd like to mention. The first one is by Warcradle, who in recent years have built up a pretty extensive range of pre-coloured MDF terrain. Now granted, it is a little trickier to put together than just punching things out of a cardboard sheet and popping them together. You will need to use some glue, but this stuff is on the more basic side. If you're new to the hobbying part of this game, then I still think you'll be okay as long as you don't pick anything that's too complicated. You can see it breaks down, the roof comes off, you've got a couple of floors, there's a stairway inside, so it's all really interactive. And I think the characters could go inside and explore for objectives and have a lot of fun moving around there. We've also got the train. The train's great. Again, for a narrative mission, perhaps you have to have characters who go inside, interact with the train to get it moving. Perhaps they've got to get it off the map as their objective. Or you could have some relics inside the train, and there's a monster that lives in there now as well, so you've got to deal with him before you can get the goodies inside. So I would definitely say that if you're looking to expand your terrain for Zone Wars, Warcradle are worth looking at. The other company is Mantic Games, who produce a whole range of plastic scenery for The Walking Dead. Now, I know some people might be new to the hobbying side of things, but let me just show you these models a bit closer, and you'll see that they're not too tricky to paint. With each of these models, I took a rattle can and I sprayed them in a base colour. I then went in and just added a few details in silver, perhaps the lights in white, the headlights in blue against the red to create a bit of contrast. But none of this is particularly skillful painting. As long as you've got some acrylic paints, a reasonably small brush, I think that most people can have a go at doing this. The fact that the cars are supposed to be a bit beaten up means that if you go slightly wrong with your painting, then it really isn't going to cause any damage. The barricades, and you get a number of these in the set, I just sprayed black and then went in and dry brushed them with a few shades of brown. And you can see that on the battlefield, that looks perfectly serviceable as a barricade. With this one here, same sort of thing, but I dry brushed grey for the tyres, then did silver for all of this, and then went in and added a few shades of orange and brown just to create this nice rust effect. Now again, on the battlefield, those will look great and give you some more things for your characters to interact with. I hope that this video has given you some ideas of where next to take your games of Zone Wars. I'm going to leave you with some images of different battlefields that I've put together using the terrain that I've discussed today. Hope to see you again soon, and until then, keep rolling.